Welcome Year 9 parents, thank you so much for coming to this assessment launch this evening. These assessments are really important. They're a really good opportunity for your students to, or our students, your children, to experience assessments under exam conditions for the first time. So please can I ask that you encourage your sons and daughters to revise over the half-term period, because these assessments are going to be very important when it comes to the end of the year. And there is going to be a Q&A box available on this chat, so please write any questions that you have in there and we will endeavour to answer them at the end. But thank you so much for coming. I'm going to pass you over to Miss Fairbank now, who's going to give you all the information about the assessments.
Okay, hello and welcome, good evening. So we will start just by giving an overview of the key dates that are upcoming. So today, obviously, you have joined this Year 9 Parent Teams event. We also had a student launch assembly this morning with a student version of the kind of parent information that we're going to give this evening. And students have also received a student subject page booklet and an assessment timetable. There's also made revision videos available on Teams, and I will discuss those in a little more depth slightly later on in the presentation. Between the 7th and 11th of June, we have the end of year core assessment, so that's English, Maths and Science. On the 2nd of July, reports will be distributed with results, and for September 2021, set changes will take place. So let's start by thinking about what are end of year core assessments. So they're a process of assessing students through a series of formalised tests in their core subjects, English, Maths, Science, and then they'll be awarded results that enable students to be placed in ability related sets within those subjects. So this is really different to the rank order assessment process that students will have undergone throughout their Key Stage 3 years or very recently. This will be setting within core assessments and placed in ability related sets within those core subjects. This means that they may be in different sets for different subjects. So for example, they will sit English assessments. We will look at that English data and we will set those students into ability related sets within English accordingly. And that set might be different to their maths set or their science set, for example. By doing this, we allow staff to provide the required support as students progress through Key Stage 4, so all students can make excellent progress. So before the core assessment period, we hold a launch event with an assembly, and we provide an assessment timetable and also revision guidance as well. Also throughout this process, we have revision lessons built into the curriculum and homework during this period, and that's all targeted to support their progress in assessments. For example, in English lessons at the moment, Year 9 students have been completing a series of revision lessons in the build-up to their formalised assessments. The assessments are cumulative, so this means that they get the opportunity to review a range of content from the curriculum to date. The assessments might not be on just the topic that they've been doing most recently, for example. However, we do share full information with students, and in those support pages that I mentioned previously, we have listed the exact topics that will be in those assessments, so they know how to target their revision. After this assessment period, students' results will be shared on the 2nd of July, and these sets will come into place at the beginning of Year 10, so September 2021. So why do we do our end of year core assessments? Well, we are really just constantly looking for ways to help our students achieve fantastic outcomes and also really boost motivation as well. Where applicable, it can really help support tiering that takes place in final exams. Students really care about their progress and therefore they work hard for these assessments. And it also provides the school with opportunities to know what potential access arrangements that students need and allows us to assess what's successful for individual students before they get into Year 10 and then obviously Year 11. So how can you support with the end of year assessments at home? Well, 100% attendance really is vital. A student who is in school and learning will have access to that whole curriculum, and there won't be any gaps in their knowledge. Remember as well that subject teachers have been and will be completing in-lesson revision lessons, and so students need to be in school to access those. We also would really like to encourage full homework completion. As previously discussed, that homework will be targeted towards preparing for these assessments, and homework just consolidates the knowledge and understanding that has been taking place in lessons. It gives students that opportunity to practice before sitting their assessments. We would also like to make sure that all equipment is brought to every lesson every day. A student who is missing equipment will just miss minutes of their lessons, having to organise and sort out, etc. And it means that if they have everything with them, they can maximise every learning minute. We would like to encourage engagement and use of those revision videos that I discussed earlier. We'd like to encourage reading for pleasure. Improved reading ages really do seek a lot of rewards for assessments. It means better comprehension of the questions being asked across a range of subjects. And finally, work through that end of year assessment information and support guide with your child. The document, as discussed already, will detail the topics covered in those end of year core assessments and hints at or links to resources that students can access to support revision. We'd really suggest using these as a guide to revisit topics and also kind of using it as a checklist really to help your child be as prepared as possible for these upcoming assessments. Okay, so what will they look like? Well, as already mentioned, they will take place between the 7th of June and the 11th of June. Now, in a difference for what the students have experienced already, they will be completed in the hall, and students have received a personalised assessment timetable for this today. Therefore, there'll be an assessment conditions and there'll be really clear expectations around what this means. And this will really help prepare them for the assessments that they will have in the hall throughout their Key Stage 4 and ultimately in their GCSE examinations in Year 11. The content of these end of year core assessments will be based on the work that students have been completing in their subjects, as discussed. And those support pages will detail exactly what topics they need to look at, what topic areas will be covered, and where they can go for further support. What support do we provide then? Well, we know that this assessment period may be a little daunting for our students, particularly sitting those assessments in hall, that being a real change to what they've done so far. Therefore, we provide wraparound support and kindness. We give really clear information about the assessment process so students know exactly what to expect. We have that subject support pages with full information, in-lesson revision sessions before the assessments. And finally, we've been working to teach students how to revise and prepare for assessments outside of class time. This is really important and something that we would always expect of our Key Stage 4 students. So we feel really strongly that we would like to prepare that in Key Stage 3 so they are ready for that independent work around school time. To support this, we are providing revision videos and materials that they can access. So we're directing that suggested outside of class time revision. These videos have been made available today via Teams, via the Central Year 9 Teams in a really clearly marked folder. And subject teachers will be showing their pupils exactly how to access these revision videos as well. How can your child prepare for the end of year core assessments then, in addition to what's already been discussed? Well, carefully read through those subject support pages booklet. Watch those pre-recorded revision videos and utilise the materials provided. And in addition, using their knowledge organisers and completing any Seneca assignments that have been set or recommended to them throughout this process. Now, in terms of what to do with the materials that we offer or recommend, we encourage students to utilise activities that support the embedding of knowledge in the long-term memory. Now, we've already taught students a variety of these activities, such as retrieval practice. They all practice retrieval practice already with their self-quizzing homework, where we encourage a look, cover, write, check method. Another really easy strategy that students can use, which is high efficacy, is a blank page knowledge retrieval. To do this, we would recommend that students pop a topic area in a bubble at the centre of a page. So for English, that might be writing to inform, for example. They would pop that on a piece of paper, and then around that, they would try to recall everything to do with that particular thing. So for writing to inform, they might try to recall the writing frame, pieces of vocabulary that they need to use, etc. Once they've jotted down on paper everything they can from memory, they would then go back to their notes, have a look at what they have recalled correctly, and if they've missed anything, they can add it in. Another strategy that's a really good one to practice at home with your child is turning that knowledge organizer or revision material information into a question. And this is really great because you can support them with their learning and assess how they are doing. For example, you would take a point on the knowledge organizer, convert it into a question, and then you can ask that question to your child, checking their response for detail and accuracy. Finally, students can be encouraged to blank out sections of information, creating their own gap-fill activity. And we've introduced them to a specific system called the Letna system, which is a system using flashcards to reduce information. This system has been communicated to them already, and they can watch a video that they've seen to refresh their memory on this, which is accessible via Teams. Finally, for any students that are wanting to kind of build a revision timetable or think about how they can do some revision outside of school, we would really recommend thinking about interleaving and spacing. And with this, what we mean is rather than students studying for one subject or one topic for a prolonged period of time, we would recommend that they do short bursts on a variety of topics and spread that out through the week to make it really manageable and achievable for them to use this to progress. In summary then, these assessments are really important. There is a lot of support on offer to help students prepare. Students should utilise this support. The assessments will take place between the 7th and the 11th. Reports will be sent home on the 2nd of July. And based on their performance, students will be put into new sets in September 2021. Next slide. Okay, so thank you for joining us this evening, and thank you for any questions that you had sent into the chat function as I was speaking. I'm now going to pass you over to Joanne Buller, our Assistant Principal for Assessment Data and Exams, who will endeavour to answer any questions that you have submitted. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening. As already has been mentioned, if you do have any questions, please pop them into the chat, and I'll try to answer those as they come through. So we appreciate that there will be gaps in students' learning for a variety of reasons, and one of the things that we do to support this is in Year 10, students will have subject-specific tutor groups. So they'll be in groups with a specialist teacher for for science, English and maths, and they will have extra support in that tutor time to fill in any gaps. So I've got a question about why physics, chemistry and biology are all being combined into one short exam. So the reason for this is we are acting on advice from United Learning, from the Trust, and they have decided that this is the best way of assessing the students at this moment in time. They've not covered everything that they would need in order to be able to complete a full paper 1. So they do in science, they do a paper 1 for biology, chemistry and physics, then a paper 2 for biology, chemistry, physics. At the point that we're at, they haven't, sorry, I'm talking year 10 now, I'm thinking I'm talking about a different year group. They've not covered enough to complete those full papers. So we've taken out the bits that they have covered, put that together. They're doing combined science at the moment. We're not doing separate sciences, biology, chemistry, physics, so it suits that they do that one paper. Apologies, I'm thinking I'm talking to year 10 parents rather than year 9. If there are any more questions, please put them into that live event Q&A. Okay, if there are any further questions that you have after the event, or if you are watching this as not a live event, and you do want to ask any questions, please get in touch with the Year 9 team and we will try to answer any questions that you may have. I'll just give it another 30 seconds, see if there's anything else that pops into this Q&A. Okay, we'll leave it there then. As I said, if you've got any further questions, please get in touch with the Year 9 team. Thank you for your time this evening. Have a lovely rest of the evening.